So I'm gonna. Is here a good place?
Yeah.
I'm sure it is.
Or that table.
Over that table better? Okay.
Yeah.
It's not gonna really
Oh,
move.
then you can switch to the other camera.
Okay, we can do that. So I like to think this is a robot just because it does things robots do, except for moving, which is kind of what we all expect with robots. This is an idea I came up a while ago. I have a girlfriend, so I'm here to announce that as part of it. She happens to, thank you. She happens to live in Vienna, in Austria. So we have a long distance relationship and it's complicated, obviously. So I wanted to make something like a robot, sort of, because that's my thing, that could keep us connected. So basically I built that guy and one more. Inside there's a Raspberry Pi and there's a bunch of LEDs. And it keeps us connected in a very cool, cute way. So I squish it. And it's connected through a VPN to the cat in Vienna. So it's basically 4 a.m. there, and my girlfriend, I'm sure, is very happy about this because it's in her room. I know that. You can do some other sort of things that I won't be able to show you, I think, but through Telegram, cool messaging app, you can text the cat interesting things like blue, and it will just light up blue. You can do other things like set up alarms, for example. She sets up the alarm. I hate alarms, so I don't do that. You can do all other.
Do the IKEA.
Oh yeah, you can do other
Explain
things
that.
like I can text the cat, make the cat IKEA logo, and I wish you could see this somehow. So, well, not on the camera, but you can see how it's now yellow and blue. It also downloaded, when I text the cat, make the cat IKEA logo, it goes on Google, downloads the IKEA logo, simplifies it in 2 pixels, and that's what it makes for the cat. So you can do other things even, like tell me about Trump. It lights up like Trump, and I found this interesting service where basically you get Trump quotes. So I always get Trump quotes. It's a little bit slow because it's a free service. Obviously, someone put that together, and it's like the worst quotes you can get from Trump. So I found that funny. It's taking a while to answer anyway. But yeah, so it's sort of a robot, maybe. I hope it kind of falls in that category.
Angel,
Yes.
introduce yourself and tell us where you're from.
Oh, sure. So as you said, it's not exactly my first time. I've been here. Last time I was here, it was like 4 years ago, I think. So I would count this as my first time. My name is Angel or Angel. I am from Spain. I work for a company that is down in San Jose. Well, I guess here. Fetch Robotics. I'm sure some of you have heard of it, right? And yeah, I do all the international business for Fetch, which is not really robotics related. I basically do sales. But I like robotics and I like to play with robots. So yeah, if anyone has questions or whatever about Fetch, I can probably answer that as well. Anyway, thank you.
Nice.
One more.
Well, you led.
What's the skin?
Yeah, what's it made of?
Oh yeah, I guess I can answer questions, sorry.
We got plenty of time tonight.
Yep.
There you go, plenty of questions. So the skin is some like lamp, like a night lamp or something like that I bought off Amazon for, I don't know, $5. And it just happened to be squishy. My girlfriend is really into cats. That's the only reason why I bought a cat. And also Bob has another 2 robots. So now you and your place have a robot upstairs, a robot downstairs, so he communicates with his wife through the cat now. When you squish it on top of lighting the other cat up, it also sends a text message. So not only we are annoying her now because it's lighting up, she's also getting text messages, which she probably hates it.
This isn't going to be a long-term relationship.
It might not last too long. It might not last too long because we didn't even tell her. So yeah, that is great. Do you guys have any other question about it?
I guess there's no microphone, so you can.
Yeah, no, there's nothing. I thought of it though. It would have been a good thing.
Explain the hardware, what's in it and stuff.
Sure. So inside there's a Raspberry Pi and a pressure sensor that is very basic. It's one of these super cheap pressure sensors The Raspberry Pi is actually running the core, what I call gato in Spanish cat, so gato core. And it basically creates a VPN network with the other cat. So both cats are connected, and actually Bob's cats are also connected to that network. Inside, it's running the Telegram bot as well, so it can communicate through Telegram. And you guys can actually text the cat. If you find the ID of the cat, you can just start texting the cat, turning it colors, setting up alarms, waking me up in the middle of the night. There's no sort of security built in. So the hardware is really, really simple. It's just 2 LED rings that we cut from like these LED strips. The Raspberry Pi pressure sensor, that is pretty much it. So it's very, very basic. Yeah. Any other question? Yes.
Yeah. When you Googled Donald Trump and like made the cat light up, what exactly was the data that the cat was showing?
So let me see if the service answered, because sometimes. So the cat will. There you go. It lights up, and so I make a request to this random website that someone put together, and it just replies to that query with a Trump quote. And it's very interesting because this service actually sends you the Trump quote, which in this case is, you know what I hate? There's a guy totally disruptive, throwing punches. We're not allowed to punch back anymore. I'd like to punch him in the face, I'll tell you. So that's literally something Trump said. But it's very interesting because on top of that, they do language processing. So on top of getting just that text, I get all the grammatical information from it. So if I wanted to change the verbs or the, things in that sentence, I could in a sort of smart way. I haven't done that yet, but it is a very cool service that you can play with. Any more questions? Sure.
So when you send a message by Telegram, where's the server or something to actually translate that into the Raspberry Pi?
So the cat is running the Telegram bot, right? So the Telegram bot is just listening to those texts, and it just captures, it just receives the text that's happening in a different thread, and it just processes that. It tries to process the information that it knows. It's a very basic processing right now, so it responds to colors, to basic commands like make the cat, and then it Googles whatever comes after. Very simple. So yeah, I'm not sure if I answered your question, but it's a very simple mechanism actually, and it's surprisingly reliable because kind of works, and I'm still amazed at that. It's been working for, that cat is about a year old now, and it's been working for about a year. Yes.
Since those Trump quotes, I have to ask, is it impact resistant?
Well, you can squish it, I guess.
So Angel, going back to the other gentleman's question, the texting is kind of interesting in how you've got it tied into the Raspberry Pi. Like if we wanted to have a mobile robot, and that robot then would get trapped and can't get out, and that robot should be able then to text us, right, back saying, hey, I'm stuck, come and help me. Right. Yeah.
So
where did you find this information to go ahead and tie all this together? Can you give us some idea of the Telegram stuff and how you got it all together?
Right. So Telegram is very good because they were the ones starting the bot idea. I think long time ago. They have very good information. They have very good documentation about all this, and that's how I started actually. On top of that, I've published most of this code on GitHub, so you can just check out my GitHub repo, and hopefully my IDs are not there. But they might. I haven't checked actually, but yeah, most of the code I just published it because it's not like I'm gonna sell it, right? So I kind of wanted to share it with people. But yeah, there's a very good tutorials, very good information. If anyone wants to learn more, I can share code and explain later. Sure.
So you connecting them both via Telegram? Is that your sort of like tunnel for the two cats to communicate?
That's how I started, but then so Telegram, they did something very smart. You don't want two bots to talk to each other because that can get very messy. So they prevented that. So when I started, that was possible, and halfway there they prevented it. So I had to come up with a different way. I use this software called Zero Tier, to get, and it's a very good VPN software, and it's very lightweight. So that you just install it on the Raspberry Pi, and you can even connect to it through your home network if you want. So basically, all your computers can live in the same network. It's probably not the best or safest idea, but it kind of works. So it just opens a socket and talks to the cat. Simple. Yep. More questions? Nothing. Cool. Thank you.
Here's a question.
Sorry.
Will you let other people squeeze your cat?
Please, I can leave it there. You're
It's
welcome to go
addicting.
for it.
It's very addicting.
There you go.
Hope your girlfriend doesn't mind.
I think it's too late for that anyway. I'll probably have a text in a while complaining. Thank you.
Okay, this is Paisan, and that's kind of indicative of some things about it. Paisan, of course, is Italian for friend, but also it has the word Pi in it, and of course it's Raspberry Pi powered. And this is my first robot. So it has its own wireless access point, which makes it kind of cool, because I can actually connect to it in any environment, since it's bringing its own network along with it. Okay, I have an SSH session established with it. Okay, so now I have the software started. I'm actually running the software from my PC. It's running on the Pi, but I have a local share on my PC mounted on the Pi where the Python script is being hosted. So that's nice too, because I can edit the software on my PC. And he's kind of a remote control bot right now. So, and this is kind of cool. I would call him semi-autonomous. So I'm going to move him. And now he's autonomous, sort of. So basically, I just recorded what I did earlier and played it back. So he's kind of in his early stages. I don't have it. I just have the distance sensor as a sensor, and I want to do line following so I can kind of emulate what our previous speaker did with the tabletop challenge. So that's my robot, my first robot.
Cool.
Any questions?
Yeah. How are you controlling it? How are you communicating?
I have an SSH session, so I'm logged into the Raspberry Pi.
Oh, Raspberry Pi SSH, okay.
Yeah, and I have a local network that's running right now between this laptop, a wireless access point that the Pi is hosting.
Okay.
I put host AP.
Pi 3. That was my
Host
question.
APD, I think is what it is, which allows for an access point on the Pi.
I think what he's asking, and also it was one of my questions, was which Pi?
Oh, it's a Raspberry Pi 3. Yes.
3. Yeah, okay.
3B. Anything else? Yeah.
So it creates hotspot, right?
Yeah.
Was it difficult to do? Did you find good documentation about that?
I've done a lot of work with the Pi, and so I had figured that out before.
Okay.
So that made it a lot easier. I
Okay.
sort of knew what I was doing in advance. The robot part's new to me, but the Pi.
I see. Maybe we can chat later because I would like my cat to create a hotspot so you can set it up. At the beginning.
Oh yeah, I can certainly
Yeah,
help you with
yeah,
that.
sure.
No problem. Yes, in the back?
Do you have, when you connect to it, do you have internet or no?
No, I don't need internet. It basically creates its own little wireless network using the access point. So there's two computers in the network. There's the Raspberry Pi and my laptop.
Okay, so then when you're doing development, do you find that it's like kind of annoying to attach to the robot, do some stuff, and then do you want to look up documentation?
Actually, that's a good question, and I actually have an answer for you. I have a little wireless dongle on my PC that gives me a second wireless interface. So there's actually two. I can have one that's online and one that's on my Pi. So that makes it a lot easier.
All right. What's your robot's name? That's very important.
Python,
Python.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Friend, and Raspberry Pi.
Okay. Very
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you.
I was stuck on the East Coast for a couple of weeks, and I went to a micro center and was utterly shocked at how well stocked they were, and how sad the availability of components are here in Silicon Valley compared to Boston and New Jersey. Micro Center had these microbits, which I'd been reading about, that were being produced by BBC and given to school children as part of an educational kit. They were on sale for $10. And they came with a little AA battery pack and a little USB cable, and they programmed in MicroPython, which I did not know when I started the project. So, you know, I'm there with my 16-year-old son, and I says, well, okay, let's see what we can do with these things. And I did a number of various things with LEDs and whatnot. The device has a 3-axis magnetometer, a 3-axis accelerometer, and a Bluetooth interface, and a 16 megahertz processor and a 72 megahertz processor, which you can't touch. That's just for providing a USB file system and the serial console into the MicroPython. So it's kind of like an Arduino in terms of processing power. So, you know, the culmination of our week or so stranded in New Jersey was I hacked together a dead bug chip because I couldn't get a circuit board to put it on a breadboard. But let me show you what I did here. So if you notice the little happy face in the LEDs, but basically I just took a 293 motor driver chip, which I had laying around from my high school days, and basically I'm able to remotely drive this robot over Bluetooth. So I could go, you know, left, right, forward. It turns out that I learned the hard way, I cannot operate the PWM while I'm doing Bluetooth communication. So I was going to have it be proportional, but I couldn't do that with the Bluetooth on. So this is a very simple thing to put together, and I'm actually considering doing something more elaborate. One of the things I learned out the hard way is when I tried soldering directly onto the board, it actually destroyed the board. Just the board did not like being soldered to, and so I had to buy this connector to be able to interface with the pins. So if anyone wants to see the micro bit, I'll leave it available here, or you can come and talk to me about that. The other thing is I'm chief scientist for a company called Roboterra, which we make these erector set pieces. And one of the projects that I didn't design, but one of the guys in the team put together, is this project they call Angry Ant. And it uses 2 servos to basically walk. Now I spent some time searching around for 2 servo walking robots, and none of them were able to do anything other than just go forward. With this design, I can actually go turn and everything. I don't have this particular version doing very much, but it's an interesting challenge walking when just 2 servos. You know, I mean, I've seen a lot of robots that do, you know, 9 and 12 on those servos, but so right now I'm working on putting some neural networks and sensors into this to do some more elaborate stuff. So again, you know, it's kind of a challenge to see what you can do. In this case, it's able to use this one arm here as kind of like a kayak paddle. You know, so I can kind of like paddle myself left, paddle myself right, or go back and forth alternately to make a straight forward movement. So I thought I'd to show that because it's kind of an interesting design. Here, I'll leave this on the floor. And this is not ready for the 4-bot challenge yet. All right. Any questions? Yes.
So how exactly is the walking gait function? You've got the kind of kayak paddling and...
So there are 2 axes. So, one of the things I kind of realized is to travel in a 2-dimensional medium, you need 2 degrees of freedom. So typically, 2 motors is very easy, or 1 motor propelling and 1 steering, for example. In the case of walking robots, again, if I had full rotary motion, there's a number of things like, the kid's toy, you can just use 1 to just go straight. To travel in 2 degrees, you need 2 degrees of freedom to be able to turn left and right, and it could be any number of mechanisms from a solenoid to, servos. In this case, this steers the arm back and forth, and then I have left and right, up and down this way. So it's able to kind of make a circular motion like a kayak paddle. Like if you've ever seen a kayaker, so I can just paddle the one side down or alternately left, right, or just the other, and that gives me both forward and backward and left and right movement. Which is kind of interesting. And I searched all of YouTube and everything I could find on this, and no one else actually was able to get the full range of motion on just 2 servos. And not having full rotary capability, but just 180 forward or backward to 0 to 180 really is very limiting. So it's kind of interesting that in my own company's product, here we go with the final project on our Castle Rock development kit that the kids assemble, and I was like looking for motors. I showed the snake robot I did with 8 servos earlier, which I made a lot of progress on too. I didn't bring that today, but I've got that operating under Mathematica, which is pretty interesting. So actually I'm going to build an AI curriculum where this thing evolves its own walking behavior is my goal.
You looked at the code for the GA for the MopBot?
Not yet. I did find it. I saw you posted it. It came by on my email, and it's my intent to go through that. Yes. So, any other questions?
I see that there's a third leg that's not attached to a motor on the top. Maybe I don't have a great angle.
No, they're all attached. So these are 4, and right now they're like this. I really want to simplify this because this is overly complicated. But part of this is just to look like an ant, and then this one's basically side to side.
Okay, I see now then.
And so the 2 servos are at 90 degrees to each other.
Okay.
So it's able to get this kind of paddling motion.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right.